back after a couple of weeks sabbatical. We still pick games. We just didn't do a video podcast of it. The Jackson Post West Tennessee High School football pick'em contest. Tony,
Yay!
the interim, Tony Niehoff, and you know what they say. And this always happens during election season. It's not who wins; it's who counts the votes. Tony somehow has a lead. No one knows how that happened. A lot of people are upset. We've already received emails about it. Brandon Fields has been traveling. Tony, you've been traveling. Us small peons. We just stayed here locally, but glad to have both of y'all back. Did y'all have a good fall break?
Outstanding. Team.
Yeah, I
Time
did
is your
too.
most precious asset, so use it wisely.
I did too, and I will say, we spent some time in Florida, and then we stopped in Georgia. Yeah, we did get to see a hurricane, and also coming through Georgia, I checked the counting machines to make sure that the machines being counted there were correct, and there's a little discrepancy there. I'm not sure Tony's winning by as much as he says he is, so we might want to check those machines in Georgia. That's all I'm saying.
2 weeks left. The fact that he's only given himself a 3-game pad, that's not enough to worry me. I'm not even going to, I would like to see paper ballots if we do this next year. I would like to see paper ballots like in Georgia. But let's go ahead and let's get started. Region 7A, Dresden 3-5, 2-3. The region going to Gleason 3-5, 0-5 in the region. Hoff, because you keep score and no one knows how this is possible. You pick first this week.
Hey, I am an honest man, even though I'm a politician.
Don't try to oversell it, Tony.
So I will double check my math for sure before we make the final call, but I'm pretty confident that I'm 91
I don't remember
correct.
one game I picked last week, so I'm just teasing you. I have no idea.
Yeah, the standings are 91 for me, 88 for Chuck, and 82 for Brandon. So it's, we got one more week left or two?
This week and one more, so about 20
Okay.
games.
So really anybody, and Brandon could come back if we both faltered, but yeah, that's true. So the first game, Dresden at Gleason. Yeah, this was a tough one. Dresden beat Gleason last year 55-18, but they were a lot better last year. They finished 13-1, 7-0 in the district. I don't really know. I haven't seen them play, so I don't know a lot of details of why they suck this year, but they do. But I'm going to pick them anyway because they've actually won a game lately. Gleason's on like a 4-game losing streak, and I'm going to go with Dresden in this one.
This is easy when Gleason 0-5 in the district. Now, Dresden lost their coach. He went to
Kenzie,
I believe, taking away Comer's place. So that
did he take half the players too?
Sometimes they graduate.
Yeah.
Usually, when you have a 9-1 team, a lot of times, it's an older team. This is an easy pick to get us started.
They were 13-1 last year, Chuck.
Yeah, they were good. They were 9-1, or were they 10-0 in?
Yeah, they were 10-0.
10-0 in regular season. So yeah, give me the lines here. This is an easy one. Not what they were last year, but still an easy pick.
Yeah, Dresden's a young team, but when you get to late October, you don't really have the quote-unquote young team excuse to lean on as much anymore. And also, like Tony said, Dresden has picked up some wins here lately. They have learned how to win. Also, their schedule has gotten a little easier because that non-region schedule was brutal with Westview and McKenzie. Was Huntington on there too?
May have been, yeah, they may have been.
No, Obion County, that's who it was. So they've learned how to win. Gleason, and they have a depth advantage on Gleason as well. And Gleason, as thin as they are on their roster, are dealing with injuries that have contributed to the 4-game losing streak. So I am taking the Lions to roar.
Okay.
All right, I've got the second game. Oh, wait. Yeah, Tony, you picked that too. Yeah, everybody went Dresden there. I've got the second game. Lake County 4-4, 3-2 in the region, going to Greenfield, 5-3 overall, 2-3 in the region. Lake County's always a tough team for me to pick. I feel like no matter what, if I pick them to win, they lose. If I pick them to lose, they win. So I don't know what this means. I am going to take Lake County here, just because I'm more familiar and they've had more recent success in Greenfield. And they're one game over 500 in the region. I don't feel super strong about this pick though, but I am going to go with the Eagles here.
I'm
Okay.
going to make Tony. Yeah, Tony, go for it.
Yeah, so I don't have it in front of me, but Greenfield seems to be playing some good ball lately. I don't remember their wins. Brandon probably could fill us in on that. Lake County struggled lately, actually. I'm not really sure if they can pull this off, especially playing on the road. I do think Greenfield's going to pull this one away, and so I'm going to go with Greenfield.
Dang it. All right. Well, I was hoping I could take Greenfield and be different from both of you, but I am taking Greenfield. I don't think that. I mean, I don't have a definitive X's and O's reason why. I mean, Lake County could beat them by 21, 28, maybe even 35. But I just kind of feel like Middleton is not Lake County, but Greenfield put a lot of points on Middleton last week, and I think they'll keep that offensive output going against the Falcons.
Next game, Brandon, you're up first here. Hall 7-1, 4-1 in the region. Only loss being either last week or the week before to Union
Last
City.
week.
To Union City, going to South Fulton, who also is having a good season. 6-2 on the year, 3-2 in the region. This game's in South Fulton. Who do you like here?
Well, first off, we're also in week 10, so we can start talking about some playoff scenarios, and this one's important because the winner of this game gets second place in Region 7-1A, which means they get to host in the first round of the playoffs. I'm going with South Fulton in this one. Halls has had a good season, but when you look at who they've beaten, not really anybody there that is as impressive as South Fulton. So I think the Red Devils win. It may be a close game, but I'm going with the Red Devils.
If you're up.
Actually, yeah, it would be up. So, yeah, this is a tough one. I do believe it could be a close game. I'm actually going to roll with Halls on this one. I think they've been on a roll lately. I agree with what Brandon's saying. I think it's going to be a close game, but I'm going to pick Halls.
You're taking the Tigers. All right. So in 3 games, I've already closed in on 2 on you. Tony, this is South Fulton. It's the Red Devils all week. Halls had a very easy early schedule. Union City really exposed them last week. Union City's a good team. I mean, that tough loss to USJ, Peabody. But yeah, give me South Fulton here.
Okay. We'll see what happens.
Close 2 games on you here in the first 3. Tony, you're starting us as we move to Region 6, 2A. Riverside, 6-2, 4-1 in the year, traveling 4-1 in the region. Excuse me, traveling to JCM. That's where you graduated. Now, one of your favorite things to do on this podcast is pick against your alma mater. They're 5-2 on the year, 3-3 in the region. Tough loss last week to Huntington or JCM.
Yes.
What do you think here?
It's not one of my favorite things to pick against them.
All the time.
I picked for them when they beat Northside, and I was in attendance, so I'm not sure where you're getting that at. Maybe you want to lay off the beer there. But I'm just gonna say that this is gonna be a tough game. But JCM started out 6-0. They lost to Riverside, and JCM. I think Riverside and TCA are pretty even. I think if TCA played JCM, it'd be a good game. I haven't seen Riverside. I just know the matchups there. I think at home can make a difference. I think JCM's going to rebound, and they've got in this 2-game losing streak. And number 10, that defensive player in the middle is going to be the defensive MVP. He's going to have some sacks and force a fumble or something to help them steal the victory against Riverside.
I hope you're right. Unfortunately, you're going to be wrong. This is going to be Riverside. JCM did look better in the second half last week against Huntington. Been a tough stretch for them. That Northside game was an unbelievable game. Such a fun game to watch. When they won the Commissioner's Cup, and of course, everybody we're still talking about that big Milan win they had earlier in the year. Riverside, for whatever reason, CA plays them tough. Even when I do think that they're especially last year, a much better team. But, TCA with Bales as quarterback and Tompkins as running back, Hank Miller, all those other kids, they're just a bad matchup for Riverside. I think Riverside wins here, and I think they roll here. I'll take the Panthers.
So if Riverside wins this game, that would mean JCM loses. JCM is knocked out of playoff contention in Region 628. If JCM were to win, they're probably going to beat Gibson County in Week 11, and they probably own a tiebreaker over at least Peabody. So they're probably in the playoffs. Depending on what tiebreakers happen, they could even possibly host a first-round game. And I'd like to think that that's going to be enough of a reason for them to play Riverside well, lead going into the fourth quarter. And there have been a lot of times this season that Riverside has trailed going into the fourth quarter, and then they just kind of make a comeback and win in the end. And I'd like to think that JCM could be the team to finally keep them from making that fourth quarter comeback. I don't think it's going to happen, though. I think Panthers win. I think the feel-good story of the year in high school football in Madison County that has been JCM will unofficially end Friday night, and the Panthers will try to make a third straight trip to Chattanooga.
If you're keeping score at home, I now have a 1-game lead. I pick next here. Peabody, 4-4, 4-1 though, 4-1 in the region, which is really all that matters. Going to Milan, 7-1 on the year, 4-1 in the region. Boy, I mean, you don't make a lot of money picking against Milan. I got the Milan Huntington pick right, but I missed it to open the season, picking South Gibson over Milan. Boy, Peabody's so much better than that 4-4 record. 4-1 in the region. Milan's just too much. Coach Comer's got them playing well. The kicking game hasn't bothered them as of late. This is in Milan. It's going to be a fun game no matter what, but give me the Bulldogs here.
I think we lost Brandon.
We'll catch him back.
So I think the only time I picked Milan and that I've been incorrect is when I picked against JCM. So that's the one time I did pick against my Cougars. But not this time. Milan is going to beat Peabody. It's a rivalry game. Being at home is going to help them. It's going to be a good game. It'd probably be one of the good games to go watch. I think Peabody's playing good ball right now, but I believe Milan is going to win this.
All right. Brandon had some connection issue. He'll be back in just a second. We'll keep it going, Tony. Let Brandon catch up. This would have been Brandon's pick. So by default, we'll shoot up to you, and I'll take the next game. Southside, 3-5 the year, 0-3 in the region, going to Hardin County. This blows my mind to say this. 1-7 on the year. 3 also in the region. Hardin County Widows, a young team. Very, very young team. Sophomore quarterback. Forever Young calls our station all the time, talks about how young that they are. 2 teams desperate for a region win, and this game is in Savannah. I don't feel sorry for you picking first here, Tony.
I mean, as much as I'd like to try to pick Hardin County, I don't think they've ever won a game for me in this pick'em contest, and this goes back to last year.
Taking him over, or one of us took him over South Gibson, and maybe it was me. They're a tough team to pick.
I picked them over South Gibson, and they lost. And you're right. I mean, they actually played decent in that game, I think, in the first half against South Gibson.
Had a lead at least in the first quarter.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, they're just a young team, and who wants it more here? I mean, I'm going to go with where I have more customers in that south side. I've sold property in that area, and I just don't know if I can pick Hardin County because they just can't seem to win a ball game. I mean, it's like the old Vanderbilt. They just can't win.
The only tape I've seen on Hardin County has been that South Gibson game, and they, compared to the rest of the year, they look better in that game, obviously, than their record would indicate. Southside's been a very up and down team, but if you remember that first half against JCM, they led that. I think Southside is also better than their record. I'm going to ride with the Hawks here too, and I have 0 customers in Savannah, so yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you there, Hoff. I'm going with the Hawks. I got this next one. This is the hardest one out of the whole bunch, I think. For us, Northside, 5-3 the year. Tough loss to JCM, and probably the best game I've seen this year. One of the best games I've seen this year. Northside 5-3 on the year, 3-0 in the region, going to South Gibson 4-4, sitting on 500, 2-1 in the region play. This is a really, really tough pick. I don't know. South Gibson's a very hard place to play. Very, very hard place to play. Nation does a great job supporting all of their sports programs, but that football team in particular. Northside's got some, and they've got some athletes. Obviously, South Gibson does too. This one's hard. I'm going to go North. I'm going to go Indians here. I hate picking against South Gibson, and I hate picking against South Gibson at home. I could be talked out of this. I don't want to go far. Give me the Indians. I said it. I'm going to ride with it. Give me the Indians.
All right. He goes Northside. So I've not seen South Gibson in person recently, but I've seen them on YouTube or whatever on the what's Worthy Studios?
Worthy Road Studios, yeah.
Worthy Road. Yeah, they cover them. I watched some. I saw some highlights. The Wallace boy had some good counters. Stephen Wallace's son, the late Stephen Wallace, who we both know, I believe. The thing about Northside, I was at that JCN that entire game. Northside couldn't seem to run the football very well. I mean, they made some big plays.
They throw it well, but they don't run the ball well. You're right. That left-handed quarterback would get out of the pocket and scramble some, but hand off to a back, they don't do that well.
No, they really don't, and that concerns me. I think against a team like South Gibson because they're going to control the clock. They're going to run the football. They play a lot like Kentucky does, except they win better probably lately. So, I mean, I think the home team is going to control the clock, run the football, and win a close game. I'm 17-13 or something crazy like that. Nothing. It's not going to be a high-scoring game, I don't believe at all. So, I'm going to go with South Gibson on this one. So,
Tony, I think you're right. We're going to be back tied again. I'd stolen a 1-game lead, but I think you're probably right. That's good logic because you're exactly right. That's a very good breakdown. South Gibson does run the ball well, and they still play really good defense. I mean, they're still missing Abe Lavorne, but they still play really, really good defense, and they do run. Yeah. And they throw it when they need to.
It just seemed like Northside was pretty run-dimensional against JCM, and JCM exposed them, and then Northside kind of made some big plays at the end to make it a ball game, and then the refs helped them out with that one flag, and I was like, that was a terrible call. And then
I believe the kid's name. He's gotten offers from Tennessee, Alabama. I mean, everywhere. Javante Taylor,
25.
He's
Smith.
unbelievable.
Yeah,
Smith. He's unbelievable. Yeah. And so, I mean, there's your big plays. But if you've got enough bodies that you can put on him, I mean, I'd have 2 men on him at least all game long. If I was, I think you're probably right there. We'll stay with the Indians, but I do think you're right. You talked me into that one. All right, you're up next here. I don't know how this worked out. Brandon.
Haywood at Crockett is what we got next.
Yeah, Haywood 6-2, 2-0 in the region on the year, but got romped by Covington last week.
Covington's really good, so
yes, Covington's always really good. Going to Crockett County, that's the land from which I hail. 6-2, 1-1 in the region. The game's going to be in Alamo. It's going to be a big game. Tony, you get to pick here. This one shouldn't take a lot of dissecting, unfortunately.
It shouldn't. No, I mean, Haywood did get drawn by Covington. And next week we're going to probably be doing Covington, I think, against McKenzie. I think they're playing. It may be a battle.
This week is a huge game.
Is it Westview they're playing or McKenzie?
Next week. It's next week's game against Westview.
Yeah, so that's going to be a mammoth matchup.
For West Tennessee.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that may be definitely one to check out. This isn't a hard one. Haywood County is traditionally a powerhouse, and they're going to beat Crockett County in this matchup. It's just not going to happen for Crockett County. I'm sorry, guys.
There's a little drama to start the season. In week 1, I'm still on some Crockett County social media pages. I think Coach Ford's done a good job to get them to 6-2 to this point. I think that's a really good job. And I hate picking against South Gibson because I love them, and I hate picking against Crockett County because I love them, and that's where I went to school. But this one's, like I said, not a lot to talk about here. This is going to be Tomcats. It's going to be Haywood.
Yep. So next is the team I mentioned, McKenzie at Giles County.
No, McKenzie 8-0, Giles County 5-3. I'll be honest with you, Tone. I couldn't find Giles County on a map. I've heard of the football program. I know they play deep. Every year they go deep into this is a non-region matchup here. They go deep into the playoffs every single year. I believe I've watched them in state championship game when they do the state coverage. I believe that was Giles County, unless I'm mistaken. But I don't know much about them. I like to root for McKenzie. Picked Huntington over McKenzie early in the year. That was a huge mistake. So I've learned never to pick against the Rebels. I know a lot of people that listen to this podcast. I have some cousins that live in McKenzie. They told me I made a huge mistake picking Huntington over McKenzie to start the season. So I'm going to stay with the Rebels here. Give me McKenzie.
Now, I looked this up before we got on here because I didn't really know much about Giles County, and I think Brandon's trying to sneak one on us here. I hope he doesn't watch this video before he picks, but I don't think they're very good. I mean, not this year they're not. Based on I think there's a team they played that's not very good that beat them. I don't remember which one, but
5-3 on the season though.
they
I
are.
know
But I mean,
much, but
but I don't have their schedule in front of me, and I don't want to look it up. But there's a common opponent that some West Tennessee teams played on here, and they lost to that team, and it's not a good West Tennessee team. I don't remember what it was, but that was the nail in the coffin. When I looked at that, I was like, "Yep, we got McKenzie for sure." So
going Rebels too. All right. You're up next this one. This is my favorite team. JCM is kind of my adopted team since you abandoned them this year. My second favorite team to root for is West Carroll, coming in at 4-4 on the season. This is the one Brandon set us up. Playing whatever a Kip
Collegiate. It's called Kip Collegiate out of Memphis.
Of course, it's a charter school. You would like that, I would imagine, being a charter school. They're 1-5 the year. Good luck picking this one. Fun.
I mean, I did look this up, and I was like, why did he do this again? I mean, this is kind of like the last one. West Carroll is a solid football team. They've got a really good running back, and Kip Collegiate, they're not that good. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but some of the teams they played, they got shut out by some average teams. I don't remember what they were because I don't have it in front of me, but based on the research, I'm not really sure why we're talking about this now. West Carroll.
All right, our last game here, Tony, and we'll get with Brandon to get the rest of these, is his connection with Laws. This is another one. I feel like this whole time, Brandon just messed with us a little bit. Perry County 2-6, traveling to Middleton. That's a long haul. I don't care how you get to Middleton. You're on 2-lane road for a long time. Perry,
watch out for the deer. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. You're practically in Mississippi. Going to Middleton, 3-5. I know Perry County, I believe it's just right across the river, isn't it?
Yeah, that is correct. Yeah, a good place to log. That's about all I can say about Perry County. That and Decatur County. Good place to buy land to log.
I have no reason to take Middleton other than it's closer to us, I guess, than Perry County. So give me Middleton, but I'm not really sold on that pick.
I mean, Perry County, when you look at, their record and their common opponents, like, they're not very good. And I don't want to down them or anything, but there's nothing impressive when you research Perry County. It's not like I'm sorry, Perry County, but I'm just not going to come to any of your games this year.
McKenzie beat them 2 weeks ago, 56-0. Of course, McKenzie's a good team, but that's a big score. McEwen beat them.
Middleton's not a McKenzie either, so this is one of these.
Not anywhere close, but shutout. They lost 22-15 to Cleveland.
Yeah, so that's somewhat respectable. Yeah. I mean, before we started this, I had Middleton written down, and this was another head scratcher. But I guess sometimes what we have to do is we pick good matchups and bad matchups, and this is just one of those somebody's got to win kind of matchup. So kind of like Kentucky and Auburn next week. We both not having good years, but one of us are going to have to win next week.
All right, Tony, that does it for us. We'll get Brandon's picks. Now, we do have tie-breaking picks. These don't go to our totals. These don't count towards our high school pick'em picks, but in the event of a tiebreaker, these will be used to decide a winner. And the reason why this is such a big deal is
we're pretty close. It could happen.
Somebody's going to win a big screen, based off of selections that they made earlier.
Yeah. And right now, to give you, if you don't remember, I've got 2 victories, you've got 2 victories, and Brandon has 1 out of, I think, 6 games. Yeah, we're not doing very well in the SEC percentage-wise. So, and we did the Texas LSU game, which is going to be the closest game for the line. It's at Texas A&M. LSU is 6-1, and so is Texas A&M. So really, this is a huge game in the SEC because Texas A&M is leading the SEC standings right now with being
3-0
undefeated in SEC. I think they're 4 now. Yeah. The only loss they have is Notre Dame, the Notre Dame team who lost to Northern Illinois. So I'm not sure how good Texas A&M is. I'll pick first on this since I'm the SEC pick'em guy. Just means more. See, I got this at SEC game.
Color.
Hey, it was a Kentucky game, so that's why.
There's not any blue teams in the SEC.
It means more there too. That people are not happy with Stoops. They're talking about buyouts now and how much we got to pay him. So I mean, you never would have thought that would have. Well, I tell you what, you never would have thought that people have been complaining about losing to Florida, and then firing our coach in the past because we always lost to Florida. But because we beat 4 of them last 6 times, now it's like, oh no, we can't lose to Florida. So anyway, I'm going to go with LSU on this game. LSU has the defensive depth. Texas A&M is going to play good defense. LSU's quarterback is an excellent player. They've got the receivers. They always have good receivers there. Texas A&M is not impressing me. I think they've had an easy schedule, and LSU is going to expose them. But it's going to be a tough game at Texas A&M. But I do believe LSU will come out on top.
The only thing A&M's got going for them, after LSU beat Ole Miss the way that they did a couple of weeks ago, I was actually in Gulfport, Mississippi, watching that game. I was like, good Lord. I was not a believer in LSU up to that point, but you kind of have to be now. I know that Ole Miss had that embarrassing loss earlier in the year to Kentucky, but there still was a team that could put points on the board. Give me LSU here over A&M. A&M hasn't played anybody.
So, Brandon, we lost you on the Milan Peabody game. You want to recap that real quick?
You want to go ahead and make your picks, Brandon?
Yeah, well, I was going to go ahead and chime in on the SEC game there.
Go ahead and do your SEC, and then we'll circle back. That sounds good.
I do want to say that Texas A&M has played one team, Notre Dame, and they got beat.
Yeah, they did.
Home.
That's correct.
To a team that got beat by Northern Illinois, or whoever it was that beat Notre Dame.
It was Northern Illinois. That's correct.
Either next week or the week after.
Notre Dame's a good team. I think they'd probably be. I mean, I think they're probably they're top 25. I'm not sure if they're top 10 because I think they're ranked.
They could lose 7 games and they'll still be in the top 25.
Yeah, right. They're not a bad football team, but I mean, they're not a top 3 SEC football team either, for sure.
But give me LSU.
Okay, we all got LSU. Okay. So next week, what we may have to do is pick more than one game, so we don't have like a tie. So I will do that next week. So, but so we lost you, Brandon. That is Peabody at Milan. Chuck and I both picked Milan.
All right, give me Peabody because I need to make up a game on both of you.
All right.
I could see. I mean, in all seriousness, it is hard to picture Peabody winning this game, but Peabody is playing better ball now than they were in August, just like they were this time last year than they were in August. They didn't beat Milan last year, but I mean, you usually have last year's results pulled up there. Did they at least keep it close with them, Tony?
I don't have it in front of me, but I do believe it was close. It was like with a touchdown or 10 points or something.
And then plus
I looked at that. Oh, I do have it here. Hold on. Let me see. Last year results were it says 48-6.
All right, so 48-6. But I like Peabody's defense being able to focus in on the Pete kid, Pete, whatever his name is, the running back for Milan, who will probably get a lot of votes for Mr. Football. I think if they can focus in on him, keep him contained, they give themselves a chance. But the offense has got to play as well as it can. A couple of players are going to have the game of their life to do this. But this is a rivalry game. You could say this is one of the top 5 rivalries in all of rural West Tennessee. And there for a few years, you can make the argument that this was the biggest rivalry in West Tennessee, one of the biggest in the state because, just how good both teams were at a statewide level a few years back. So give me the Golden Tide to pull off the upset and help pull me within another game you go.
Okay. So go ahead.
Yeah, you got it. Go ahead.
Okay. So the next game was Southside at Hardin County. So we can tell you every time. Do you want to know every time? I don't care.
Yeah, I want to know every time.
All right. So we both picked Southside on that.
All right.
Are you going to go with Hardin County?
I'm starting to smell a sense of theme here.
And I mean, you could go with either team to win this one. Southside has shown a little more life here lately, but if you take away that Bolivar win, they haven't shown that much more than Hardin County. And I was talking with
the first half against JCM. I mean, that was a good half for Southside against a team that's pretty darn good.
That was week 2.
Still,
I'm talking about
out for something.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about lately.
Okay.
I mean, they played fairly decent against Northside for a quarter and a half. So I'll give them some credit for that. But also, Southside's got a lot to play for because they're trying to stay in the hunt for, both teams are trying to stay in the hunt for a playoff spot, and they both have to win this week to hopefully have a shot at the playoffs. The loser of this game will be officially knocked out of playoff contention, and the winner needs to win next week and probably needs a little help to get into the playoffs. It's in Savannah, isn't that right?
It is at Hardin County, 7:00. Yes, sir.
All right. So give me the checkerboard, end zones. Give me the tailgating. Give me the Tiger Walk. Give me the Tigers.
Somebody's got to win. That's right. So next one is a really big game. I think Chuck and I had a hard time picking this, and I went back and forth. Chuck went South Gibson, and I'm sorry, I went South Gibson, and Chuck went Northside. So it's Northside at South Gibson.
Yeah, South Gibson struggled more than what I expected them to against Lexington last week. Only up 7-0 at halftime. Then they added 10 more points in the second half. I think they're going to get on the field against Northside this week, and Northside's a bigger team. They're a faster team, or they're definitely a faster team than Lexington. I don't know if they're that much bigger, but they're definitely faster than Lexington. They are just more productive offensively than Lexington. I think Northside jumps out big. And when I say big, I mean 14, maybe 20 points at halftime. And then South Gibson kind of chips away, but falls short in the end. And Northside sets up a championship game in Week 11 with Chester County.
Well, what I said about this was my opinion on Northside was they don't run the football. So if you can eliminate big plays against Northside, then you can win.
Defense.
So I mean, I don't say you're wrong, but I guess if South Gibson gives up big explosive plays, then that could happen. But I just don't see Northside running the football effectively because it seemed like they just couldn't against JCM. And I think South Gibson's defense is better than JCM's. JCM has a good defense, but South Gibson plays really good team defense and swarms the ball pretty well.
South Gibson's run defense is better than JCM's. South Gibson's run defense is good enough to stop Noah Spencer from gaining 100 yards on the ground for USJ, but their pass defense is not good enough to keep Noah Spencer from catching a screen pass and going 70 yards for a winning touchdown.
Well, let's hope they learned something on film and got better, But you picked Northside, so I'm gonna write it down. Northside. So you guys can win some games on me, maybe possibly. Next one is Haywood at Crockett, and both of us picked Haywood on that one.
Brandon's gonna have a hard time telling the Crockett pick here.
Yeah, there's a difference between taking a risk and just being taking a really big risk.
And going all in with 3 threes, huh?
Yeah, the heck with it. Give me Crockett County.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you're losing by 9 games with 2 weeks to go, so
Yeah, so
whatever.
maybe down by like 20 by the end of by Friday night, but whatever.
All right, so the next gigantic matchup is McKenzie at Giles County, not a West Tennessee team. We've
Right.
determined that.
So the reason, can I do a little bit of history of why this game is being played?
Neither one of
Sure.
us find it on a map.
Y'all can't find Giles County?
Oh.
It's the high school in Pulaski.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that I've seen them. I did tell Tony, I thought that I've seen them on like a state championship coverage from years back.
Yeah, when USJ offensive coordinator Bo Wallace was their quarterback in 2009, they won state, and then they've been a pretty consistent, or maybe not ever since then, but until about 4 or 5 years ago. I mean, the whole the teens decade, they were a contender for the 4A championship. Like, they made it to at least the quarterfinals, if not the semis, if not Cookeville/Chattanooga. Like, they were a threat every year. So, but they have taken a step back. They're only 5-3 this year. They started out like 1-2, 1-3, something like that. They've gone on a winning record. Hardin County gave them one of their losses. Yeah, Hardin County's one win, maybe over Giles County. I'm trying to think.
That's correct. That's the one I was talking about, Chuck.
Yeah.
Hardin County beat Giles County. I'm like, why are we picking this?
Yeah. But the reason this game is being played is because last year in Week 10, McKenzie played a team, I think, out of Memphis called Freedom Prep. Well, Freedom Prep shut down over the summer, or at some point since last October. So McKenzie went looking for another opponent, and there was a team near the Alabama state line, just north of Huntsville, said, "Hey, y'all can come over here and play." They'll probably
That's why they're
leave.
doing it.
Yeah, they'll probably leave early Thursday morning to take on a state power and 3A
Right.
ball. Yeah, but I think McKenzie goes on the road. I do wonder if this long trip could affect them, but I think if it does affect them, it just affects them early. And then maybe if they fall behind, that'll be the slap in the face that they need, like Madison Soccer needed a slap in the face early on against Memphis East on Saturday to and fall behind to kind of get them going. And I think Memphis runs away with this one, wins by 21 points at least.
Yeah.
McKenzie, not Memphis.
McKenzie, yeah,
Sorry.
McKenzie. You had Memphis East in your brain there.
Right.
All right, so the next one is West Carroll at Kip Academy out of Memphis. I guess that's another magnet school, or
Yeah,
Kip Collegiate maybe is what it was called.
it's a charter school because KIPP is a charter company like American Classical Education is.
I got you.
It's
Okay.
just that KIPP is a more respectable brand that actually tells the truth when they come into account.
Kip actually did reach out to County Commissioner Juanita Jones. So
Yeah, there we go. And
Okay.
they actually know the difference between keep my hood good and keep my neighborhood not bad.
Yeah.
All right, now we're just getting off into
Yeah. Now,
we,
so
Tony was a big Kip fan.
who did y'all take?
I know Kip ran for city council. You know that Kip. That's about the only Kip I know.
All right, so we got Kip Hornberger versus West Carroll. All right,
That wouldn't dress it.
give me West Carroll. So every West Carroll pick is a shaky pick now that they don't have the Milton kid.
They still have that running back, don't they?
No,
Yeah.
Milton is the running back.
Right.
Oh, that's the one. What, did he get hurt or something?
Yeah, he tore his AC.
I didn't even know that. Yeah. It is shaky without him, but still, I still think they win.
A lot of times, rural West Tennessee teams, particularly small schools, win over inner city schools in Memphis just because of a
Coaching.
coaching advantage. So I'm going to go with coaching advantage. Give me the War Eagles.
All right, the last one is Perry County, the powerhouse, against Middleton Tigers, I believe.
Yeah, they're the Tigers. We
We
yeah.
both went with Perry County. No, I'm kidding. Middleton.
You both went with Middleton?
We
Good.
did.
Give me Perry County. Middleton has won more games this year. They got a chance to win the most games that they've won in like 30 years, which would be like 4. And Perry County is probably within the realm of them winning, except for if you look at the 3 games that Middleton has won, it's all Mississippi schools.
Perry County is
And
close to Mississippi.
y'all, Perry County is nowhere near Mississippi, Tony. It's nowhere near. I mean, it's closer to
Closer
Mississippi.
than Michigan.
I was going to say it's closer to Mississippi than Bristol, but no, it's not close to Mississippi. Give me the Vikings. They're going to get me back into this, and y'all are going to wish that y'all had not ticked me off.
Now he's going to be focused.
And next week, the SEC picks are going to be bigger, I believe, because, let's assume LSU, whatever happens, we're all going to be tied. The tiebreaker's 2 Chuck, 2 for me, and 1 game for you. So maybe next week we'll pick 3 SEC games because I've been feeling, this could tighten up unless, some of my picks come through. So we'll see what happens.
That's what makes it interesting. We'll do it again to be the final week next week. Gentlemen, great job per usual.
All right.
Peace out, guys.